one of the things that ends up happening with people who walk with God, who have a relationship with Him, is that I believe that when God grants His Spirit to us and makes us spiritual people as well as people who have souls and people who have bodies and people who have the same biochemistry that everybody else does, I think that God gives us capacity and gives us ability to grow. And this is the sort of thing when you describe it to people, they go, well, we all have capacity to grow. And to a certain extent you can, when you're older, take additional coursework in new things that interest you. You can end up learning new information and learning new facts. And that's good, and that's excellent, and that makes you more interesting. But I really think that part of our walking with the Lord is He gives us capacity and ability to keep on growing as we are with Him. And so I really want to encourage those who are walking with the Lord that the circumstances that you face, the life that is around you, the things that are going on with us and through us are because God has not given up on us. God has not gotten to a place where we just settle into the reality of what is next. It's a matter of you don't get to a place where you end up being competent at your job or competent in relationships or something else, and you just settle into a circumstance where you don't end up growing any further. But that God is continuing to do good and excellent things, and He's continuing to encourage us to grow in who He is. And one of the things that is difficult in seasons and times that you may face is when you feel like you have arrived at a point of capacity or arrived at a point where there is no further growth that is necessary. When I was a young man, I knew certain people who were in their early to mid-20s, and some of them had grown as much as it seemed that they were ever going to grow, and they had finished learning, finished maturing, and finished being done. And when that happened, you felt like this was a person who was young, but there was an aspect of them that was old. And when I was a teenager, my mom's mother ended up moving in with us after her husband passed. And one of the remarkable things about getting to know her well over the course of the time that she lived at our house was this was a woman who was engaged, who was interested, who was inquisitive, who had hope for the future, who had mountains she still wanted to climb, who had things she still wanted to encourage to come into being. She still wanted to plant. She still wanted to encourage young people and others in her sharing what she had learned over the course of her life. And she was not done, even though she was what looked elderly to me when I was a teenager, that's for certain. And so the question ends up being for us is God doing a work in us which is causing us to be fresh, causing us to grow, causing us to meet challenges, causing us to overcome, and causing us to continue to contribute to the existence of the kingdom of heaven? If this is something that God is interested in, then we have our choice as to whether we're going to settle into a stasis or settle into a form whereby we just rest on what we have accomplished in the past, rest on all that we have done, or whether we're still engaging, whether we're still looking to the future, whether we're still in a position of belief that we can have a hand in contributing to what's presently going on and what's going to come next. Just want to encourage you to consider this, because sometimes if we just get to a place where we're done, we're missing out what God's doing, what the next chapter is, and what we can contribute to end up transforming and changing the area around us. Shalom.